My name is Andrew David Weber. Welcome to Five Fire Minutes. I'm here with Brandon Allen Lewis of Punkerton Records. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing all right today. My first question is, how would you describe a label's role in terms of helping an artist grow?
Well, it turns out that I didn't know what a label's role was, apparently. I was completely way off since I started it. For me, what a label should be doing is not only like promoting their bands, but they should help in literally any way they can at any level that they can. I think they should definitely help them book tours if they can. They should put them in the studio if they can afford it. They should release their music and give them a realistic release strategy. We do all our own PR. We try to put bands on tour if time and logistics make sense. We hype them up, we promote them every chance that we can. A lot of the stuff that we do are what some of the publishers do, and not necessarily the labels. Sync licensing and trying to get somebody on Netflix or something. I feel like the relationship between a band and a label is whatever they both feel would make a good arrangement. And obviously, sometimes one or the other doesn't meet the other's expectations, and as long as they can communicate through that and say, "Hey, look, we thought this. Is there any way that we can do this?" And honestly, I think that the label's probably number one role is to be upfront and honest. I think it's vice versa. So a band's role with a label is be upfront and honest. And then the same thing, as far as the label, tell them what you can do, but don't make promises that you don't intend to keep or that you can't keep.
I like that. It's a very transparent way of operating.
100%. It's transparency. I feel that any relationship, whether it's personal or business or anything, if everybody was transparent from the beginning, you wouldn't have issues down the road.
Right. What advice would you give to someone who is trying to increase their streaming numbers organically?
Play shows, and then make connections with people who already have a following or have a platform. People who do playlists, people who throw bigger shows or whatever. Your local show, right? If you're really good with the promoter, when a big band comes to town, maybe you can open up for them. Obviously, if you're beyond that level, get in with some, really good reputable PR companies. Sometimes advertising really does help as much as, no one wants to pay to get their music out there. So yeah, that's what I would suggest.
I like that answer. And then that would bring me to what can an artist do to make themselves more appealing to a label? Like what is appealing as a label when you look at an artist, what are you looking for?
I always say this, and I've said this even earlier. Just be honest and upfront with the label about your expectations from a label and what you would want, but also professionalism. Take pride in the things that you do. Don't release music that doesn't sound good as far as the production quality. I understand that it costs money and stuff like that, but if you're trying to get on a label, it needs to, even if it's a demo, make sure it sounds good. Have a look about you, like you really want to be there, and that you take pride in your work. And then just work hard. If I see a band who has already put in a lot of effort, whether it's through their social medias, through whether it's being road dogs and touring constantly, we have our own little list of the things that we are looking for in a band, particularly at any given point. And they gotta check off like five or six of those 10 points for us to be able to consider it. Because if a band's not doing any of those things, you know as much as I love to help bands, we are still a business, and I don't care if we all become millionaires, but I don't want to lose any money on something. And sometimes it's a gamble. A band can do all those things and I can do all I can do, and sometimes obviously it just doesn't work, but just if they've put in effort already, it makes my job a lot easier and it makes me want to work with them significantly more, I guess.
I can appreciate all of that. I think the my favorite thing about this has been the transparency. Like I've talked to some other people that have own labels, and um, I think so far, based on also what you post on social media and this interview, you certainly are the most to the point. You say exactly what you're looking for, and you say exactly what you can do, and you admit that you don't know everything, which is I think my favorite thing that you said.
I feel like at first I was like, this is how I'm gonna be because this is who I am as a person, whether it's detrimental to what I'm able to do or not. But when I do discover that there is something that I don't know, I mean, there's YouTube, there's everything to be able to answer the questions that are being asked of you. And there's no excuse to not figure out what you're doing, but also be humble enough to go, yeah, I really don't know this, but don't worry, guys, I will figure it out.